Welcome back to the fourth iteration of my R short series, replacing missing values with means. Now, we've all been there. We've loaded up our data into R, we've started to explore our data, and we notice we have missing variables. Now, if you have 2, 3, 4 missing variables out of, 1,000 observations, that's not too big of an issue. However, if 5%, 10%, 15% of your data have missing values, that is something you absolutely need to address, and you can't just go around deleting that much data. And that's what I'll be teaching you in today's video. As usual, I'll be using the Palmer Penguins dataset. Now, truth be told, this dataset does not have that many missing values, but it has enough for me to, show how to replace them with means. Now, let's go ahead and load up the packages we need. So we will load up the tidyverse. We will load up Palmer Penguins. We will bring in the Penguins dataset, and we will load up another package called Skimmer. So if you do not have this package, go ahead and install it. It should be it's fairly small. It should not take that long to load. And what Skimmer does is, as the name entails, it allows you to skim your data, and some of the information it gives out is actually how many missing values you have for distinct variables. So, for example, if we look at the Penguins dataset and we skim it using Skimmer, just skim Penguins. Let's run that. What do we see here? We see that for our numeric variables, we have two missing values for bill length, 2 missing for bill depth, 2 missing for flipper length, and 2 missing for body mass. And like I said, this is not much, but it is enough for me to get my point across. So how do we replace these NA values with the means of their respective variables? Well, it's actually fairly simple if you just use a basic logical operator. And so how are we going to do this? Well, it's actually pretty straightforward. So the first thing we're going to do is specify the data set we're working with, which is Penguins, and then the variable of interest. So let's just go in order of how the variables show up in the skim table. So we'll start with bill length in millimeters, and then we'll add a logical operator to it, which in this case will be is.na. This just means that if a value in this variable is missing, is NA, then do this, right? Okay, so let's restate the variable, which is bill length millimeters. I'm gonna skip this. And now that we have specified this, we can then tell R what we want to do with those missing variables. Now, I'm going to put in a mean function, but in theory, you could put in a median function, you could put in a maximum, a minimum, or any number of other functions. Okay, so the mean of what? Well, the mean of Penguins bill length in millimeters, right? We're not going to replace it with the mean of some other variable. And then we'll add a na.rm equal true to allow us to alter missing variables. And so let's run this line of code. Okay, now, before we go ahead and skim Penguins again, let's take account of two things in the skim table. First, there are 2 missing values in bill length, the last we checked, and the standard deviation of bill length is 5.46. Now, both of these should change if we've successfully changed these missing values to the mean. And so let's go ahead and see if that happened. And now we take a look at bill length. We have 0 missing values and a slightly altered standard deviation. So we have successfully changed the missing values to the mean. And we have confirmed it not just by seeing if there are less missing values, but also with a quick logic check to see if it altered some measure of either central tendency or of variability. Okay, so now that we have done that for bill length, let's go ahead and do the rest of the variables. So to save time, I'm just going to copy this line and then alter a couple of things. So the next one will be bill depth. And then depth here. and depth again, and we run this. Great. And the next one will be flipper length in millimeters. So flipper length. Now, I can't copy paste that well with my mouse. My mouse is acting up for some reason, and when I click on things, it tends to go everywhere. I'm not sure why, or sometimes it does, sometimes it doesn't. So I have to be kind of slow in doing this, but don't worry, we will get there. And the last one is body mass in grams, correct? Yes, correct. So body mass in grams. Body mass, grams. Body mass, grams. And then body mass, grams. All right, so let's run these last two lines and then check again if we have successfully altered our data set. And we are now showing that we have no missing values for all of these variables. And that is how you replace missing variables with their means in R. I hope you enjoyed the video.